My eyes got watery at least 3 times just brainstorming this video. Never mind actually recording it for y'all. But we're going to do it, okay? We're going to do it because I want to show y'all how I actually process my emotions when something's hitting me or I'm realizing something or my divine team's helping me to sit in an epiphany and do something about it, right? Without blaming anyone. So yeah, it's gonna go into my childhood and all that, but it really is for me to reflect on me. And sometimes you have to go to your past and think about what you've been through, right? So yeah. And for those who don't know, my name is Dabi L. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new here, I appreciate you stopping by. But let's get into it. I am a vulnerable queen. So let's start off with me coming back to my home state. For those that don't know, I moved away, went to Miami, then went to California, then came back to the East Coast. And it's been a lot of realizations, a lot of like, whew, energy. And it's ironic that like when me and my sister moved back here, we ended up living in a town that was near my old town. It was near like a town that my father used to live in, basically. And that's also the town I was born in. We lived there for a little while until reconnecting with my family, and then everything went down there. But we had an apartment there for a couple months. We were moving, bouncing around within the East Coast, and then we finally got back to my family. But we ended up going back to that area. And when I was in that area, I had like memories coming back because, as you may know, my father is not in my life, but I have memories with him. And this is a man that my mom actually married. They divorced, they went their separate ways, but that divorce was sticky. So, of course, there's father wounds and there's mother wounds and all that. And so it still kind of affects me a little bit till this day. And it's making me realize some things. As a kid, at the time, he was very present from what I could understand as a kid. My mom and him always had a lot of issues, very up and down. But they got married when I was about 3 years old. They had my sister, and we ended up moving out of my grandparents' house. And so we lived together in the projects. And when we were living together, I felt the closest to him. They would always ask, who do you like better? Who do you like better? And I'd be like, Daddy. And then my sister Brianna would be like, Mommy. And so that dynamic kind of showed up as life went on, although he wasn't in my life anymore. So I technically ended up with the parent that I wasn't close to, which was my mother. But either way, point is, they ended up divorcing. So it went from like seeing my father every day to not seeing him as much, or he'd pop in when he felt like it, or he'd say he's coming and then he wouldn't show up, right? So I just have to set that tone for y'all. He was just in and out. It would be months that go by and I'd see him again or whatever. He's living now near us. So he's like a town over from where we were living. And he was living with like a cousin of his, and his cousin had kids that he now claimed as his kids. Man, this story's complicated. He would be there all the time with them, and I would go to events there, and my mother would know he's there and would send us, or she'd come with us, and we'd bump into him like we were strangers. Like we would bump into him like, hey, Daddy, oh my gosh. And if I remember correctly, I was running up to him. I was excited to see him. I was always like, am I going to see Daddy today? Because I understood when we go to events, that's when I would see him. But would he come and spend time with us? Once in a while. So it's just, as a child, imagine going from seeing your father every day living with you to now bumping into him at events. Like, it's one thing to plan to see your child at an event, or like my mother preparing me or something and kind of like just saying, yeah, you are going to see your dad. But it's just another thing when he just acts shocked every time, like, oh, hey. And it's just this, hey, oh my gosh, how are you? And then we go our separate ways. And I'm just like, this is my father. And it went on for years. That's the kicker. It went on for years because this event was a yearly event. And so it'd be this thing where like he has siblings too. My father obviously has like a couple of siblings. We would just see that side of the family around in the streets. And it would be this thing where they will or will not say hi. And I started to just be like, this is weird, but I would still push and I would still try and I would still be happy and excited to see him. And it just affected me, like being in a place where a group of people are there and it's this happy space and it's supposed to be exciting. And I love people. I'm very people-centered. I love connection. I love all of that. And seeing that dynamic shift with my father actually affected me. And even at my grown age right now, I'm like, oh my goodness, being back at that town, so fast forward to now, I'm at that town more often. I actually visualized one day going to this town. I'm like, what am I going there for? Mind you, it's nearby where I am now. And I'm like, okay, I'll go. You know, that's, like I said, where I'm born and where my father ended up moving to after he moved out of our home and divorced. And him and my mom took years to divorce, but they finally divorced, but they were separated. It was a town that I just didn't go to as often anymore because I was just like, oh, like I'm always running into this man. And so it left impression on me, and I visualized myself going to that town more often. And I would go, but I would like drive through or go to a quick event and leave. But like to walk through it like I do these days and to really hang out, it just wasn't something I did until nowadays. And I find myself going to a lot of the events for, like, you know, soccer. They have been doing a lot of back-to-back events, and it's been fun. It's been really nice. And I realized that there was something in my heart. Like when I would go, I would just feel a level of, I don't know if it's anxiety or just memories would come back. And sometimes we're guided back to past areas to make sure we're good, you know, like, ooh, it makes me emotional. It's just like, this is a place that should be fun, and it is. And also there's something in my heart, and I can act like I'm all good. I can act like, oh, whatever, who cares, my father, blah blah blah. But it hurt my feelings to understand that you're my dad and you don't care to be a father, and I bump into you when I bump into you, and I see you when I see you. And I mean, my father made the decision long ago that he just didn't care to be a parent to us, but he would say he adopted other children. It just was confusing as a child. And so I grew up just kind of asking questions about humans because my parents, you know, at the core is my parents, and they're not bad people, but it's just the truth. My parents really made me question, why do they treat me this way? Why do people treat me this way? Like, as a father, you lived with me, we grew up together, I told you you're my favorite, and yet when you are out and about, you don't think to bring me with you, or I'm just bumping into you like you're a stranger to me and I have to be the one to approach you all excited. It started to weigh on me. Never mind, you know, when it's our birthdays, he would say happy birthday to me sometimes, but wouldn't say it to my sister. So now it's this weird thing. He just moved real interestingly. And to know that as an adult, I'm going to these events and I'm like, am I going to see this man? Till this day, I'm like, am I going to bump into him? Is kind of insane because that was my childhood for years. It's a yearly event. And I'm just like, am I going to see him? But did I talk to him on the phone? No. And I think, you know, the part that is part of my story, it's not to tell my mom's business really, but she would be open to seeing him. It wasn't like this thing where she was protecting her kids. Like she would talk about him, but also be willing to go to these places. Or if he popped back up, she welcomed him back in. And it was this thing that I was used to, but I was also like, this isn't right. Like something's off. Like, aren't y'all divorced? Why are y'all walking through the mall like it's nothing? I'll never forget a day me and my sister were now in high school and we're with our friends hanging out and we see our mom and dad just walking through the mall together. I'm like, I haven't seen this man in years. What are you doing with this man? Like, that was my childhood, you know? Like, what are we doing? And it's just, there was a lack of boundaries. And my father just came in and out when he wanted. And I was just this like happy child to see him until like as I got older, I would just get sad. And I'm just like, this isn't right. There's something off, you know? And it went on and on and on until like college when I would go now to when he moved to another state. I would go to visit him to be like, okay, I need to make a final decision on this man. Like, do we have a relationship or not? And when I would go there, I'm not going to get into the details, but it just wasn't a father-daughter relationship. It wasn't something that he was really trying to develop with me. It was me taking the action to come see him, to make effort. And even then he would like be like, oh, hang out with my nieces, you know, while he goes and does whatever and comes home whatever time. And so I would go out and just be out because I'm in college. I'm just like, whatever, like this is what I have to deal with. Fine. I would bring a friend with me if I would come. It's like I was trying to live in this facade of like father-daughter relationship that just didn't exist. And I don't think it ever did. And I think that hits me harder than I think, you know, like, and so it just makes me question people, and I'm overcoming it slowly. But wow, when you get hit with it, you're like, whew. And so as a kid, I grew up just being like, why do people treat me like this? Wait, is this normal? Like, am I supposed to be excited to see this person even though they don't care to say hello to me? Like, wait, do they like me or do they not? Like, are we good or are we not? And never mind me and my mom's relationship. My goodness. She didn't have a good relationship with her father. But as a child, I was really favored by my grandfather at the time. And, you know, they had a really bad, sour relationship. And I don't think that sat well with her. Let's just put it that way. And then now it replays again with my father, where I'm like basically his favorite, and they're having hard times. And now it replays to now she's dating someone, and that man literally wants to, sorry, TMI, but have sexual relations with me. Like, it was just always this weird thing with my parents where I'm like, does my father like me and care for relationship? And is my mom in competition with me? Like, what is happening? Like, why? And I think I'm past the why. I'm more so now in a place where I have to face the truth and be like, oh, I'm going to keep going to these events. And yeah, I might see that man, but it can't affect me that way. I think he made his decisions, and that's okay. It has to be, right? Even if it hurt my feelings, it just has to be okay. He made those decisions, and so now I have to take people with a grain of salt. It's like, maybe that person doesn't like you, and that's okay, Davia. Like, say hi if you want to, or don't. Like, I don't know. I'm always maneuvering through that stuff because I love people. Like, I want to just be like, but I feel like sometimes I'm always the one that's making the effort of doing the thing, and it's just like, ugh. But then let me pull away and I'm the worst person, you know? I'm like, how could you? Because people think I'm going to stick around all the time, you know? And it's just this thing where I just reflect on why my relationships are the way that they are. And I'm like, holy, I've been asking questions and being confused about relationships all my life. And so all my life, my relationships have been confusing. And I'm sure people relate to this, but I'm just venting and being honest about what I've gone through. It's just like, I'm always just wondering, like, what did I do? Did I do something? Or and if I did, let's talk about it. But not everyone wants to talk. You know, I'll never forget sending my father the Lindsay Lohan song, Daughter to Father, I think she had. I sent it to him trying to like hint at, hey, not hint, I was pretty clear, like, this is how I feel towards you and I want to talk about it. And he was just like, well, it looks like you want to develop relationships. Well, why don't we focus on that? Like, why don't we? And I'm like, yeah, but it takes like healing and actually getting deep, you know? And he's just like, not into it. And I just was so confused and wanted him to be into it until I had to be like, what are you doing? And then it replayed again with my family. I'm over here wanting to have conversations with them to heal. I'll never forget going to, for example, my aunt, my mom's sister, going to her house and being so vulnerable, talking to her for 2 hours, like, hey, this is what's going on spiritually, this is how I'm feeling, these are the concerns I have, even about your daughter, and everything, like, so sincere. She seemed open to me. It seemed good. And she wasn't like so into the conversation, but I was like, okay, I'm making effort. Like, I'm at least trying before I pull away, before I make any assumptions. I want to go to my aunt and have a sincere talk with her because I love her and I want things to work out. And, you know, oh, whoa, didn't see this coming. I didn't know this was going to cry. Wow. I talked to her and whoa, didn't see this coming. And she was just like, okay, you know, and she's like, anyway, I have a cruise to go on, so I have to go. Like, and so we ended the conversation and she never brought it up to me again. And so I'm like, okay, I tried, you know, she just didn't care to bring it up, didn't care to anything, never, nothing. And then when I come back around to talk to the family and be like, my family now, like, this is years later, I'm like, okay, let's talk. She was just like, you came to my house talking all this stuff. And I was like, I thought I had a auntie and niece conversation with you. You seemed fine with it. You had no questions for me. And now you're in front of everybody, my other family, screaming at me and her daughter, like, you did this and you did that. And I'm like, why didn't you just voice to me when we were talking that you felt away? And the thing she's voicing, she's like, I don't believe in this stuff, but also you did this. And I'm like, what? Well, that makes me emotional. Whew. It's just this like up and down where it's a love hate with my family. I don't get it, you know? Like, and then her daughter seen us in the streets when we came back, and she rolled up to us like, I heard you talking shit about my family. Meanwhile, before we walked away, I was like super close to her, and there was like really it was just like a sibling relationship basically with our cousin, and she started to pull away from us, me and my sister, and we let her. We didn't give her issues. But then when we started going through what we were going through, she's like, yo, I don't care, bro, what you're going through. Like, I want to talk. I wanted this. And we're like, so we distance ourselves. Now we come back in town and she rolls up on us, like literally pulls up on us talking about like all this stuff. Like, just like, you know, you talking shit about my family. And I'm just like, girl, we're facing her and we're talking. She's following us while we're walking. Like, we have big beef. And then she turns around to be like, well, can we connect? Like, I really want to connect. And I'm just like, you just rolled up on me like we have big beef or like you was about to fight. Like, I'm just so confused. And so now I look at the asshole if I don't want to connect, but like what? But yet when I'm speaking my truth, it's just these things where you do put in effort and it doesn't always have to reciprocate, or like the energy doesn't always have to match, and that can hurt your feelings. And I think for a long time I've let this stuff really affect me, and I just have to sit with the fact that people make their decisions and that's okay. And I've made decisions that probably don't make people happy, and that has to be okay. And so now these same people, I have to just live with their truth, and they have to live with my truth, which is just, it is what it is. I have no beef. I have no issue. I was just at their house just the other day. But we've all made ourselves clear. No one wants to heal. No one wants to talk about anything. That same cousin, that same aunt, my grandfather, who done wished death on fishes at my house. My grandmother just came over again. That's the update. She came over, another fish dead. Boom. Literally within 2 hours of her leaving our house. I just can't make this stuff up. It's just back to back. There's always stuff that I just don't understand about people, and I still try to give it the benefit of the doubt. But it just kind of bites me in the ass a little bit, and I think it's worth it because I'm learning people and learning I can't control people, and it's been beautiful, and I have to still be around these people because yeah, they may do things that I don't like, but I can't push everybody away, and so I'm always trying to look for a middle ground. I say all this to say there is peace that I'm looking for in my heart, and I've found a lot of it. And then there are times where I get poked by stuff. God's like, all right, you've done a lot of healing, but now let me bring you back to a vicinity that made you uncomfortable, and let me see how you deal with it. And the truth is, there's beautiful things at these events. I'm meeting people, seeing people from the past and all that, and it's been great. And so I don't want to stop myself from experiencing the great things, but I must face the uncomfortable truth, which is like, oh, I can feel triggered at moments because I don't know if my father's going to pop up. Now that I let this out, I'm like, okay, he can pop up, and I'm going to treat it normal. I'm not going to go out of my way to say hello. But if we bump into each other and God wants me to be face to face, I'm like, oh, what up, Daddy-O? Probably not going to say that. Hello, I'm going to say his first name and be like, what's up with you? All right, dog, you looking good. You know what I mean? All right, bet. You know what I mean? Like that. My father was a hip guy, was a DJ, he had all the friends. He was a cool dude, but he just wasn't interested in raising me and my sisters, and maybe it was because it was my mom, and him and my mom had a really toxic situation, whatever. But he did not make an effort to really be in our life. And people would ask him about us, and I'm trying to see there's a bug on me. People would ask him about us, and he would be like, yeah, they're doing great. And I'm like, I haven't seen this guy in like 6 years. What are you talking about? Like, why are you doing that? And so I look delusional because they're like, yeah, your father just said you were doing great. And I'm like, no. And my grandfather, so his father on that side, would also say, oh my God, the kids, they're doing so good. You literally don't have my number. Stop it. Like, it's just weird stuff. And that's how I feel for me and my sister. Like, we can't even explain what we've gone through because I don't know that anyone would believe. It's just so twisted. It's like the people that love us so much also make us feel like we're literally crazy, batshit insane. Like, they'll talk the most crap and be so mean to us, and also it's like, what's your problem? It's just like, it's so insane. Or like, there'll be people that care about you so much, but then when they see you, they act like they don't know you. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, I gotta like protect my energy and just be okay with being at peace. I don't have to be the most bubbly, and I could love people and still just be good with me. And when the vibe is there, I've also bumped into people where it's like mutual. Oh my God, I saw this girl from college and it was so nice. Ew, that's making me cry too. No, ew, because my tears are nice. But this is how much I love people. It's like she was so happy to see me, and regardless of what that may mean or not mean, but she's like, how are you? Oh my gosh. I was like, I've been through a lot, but I'm better. And she just got engaged. I was so happy for her. I gave her a big hug. And that felt good. It's like, I just love connecting. I think it's just overthinking sometimes because of the past and stuff. It's like, I just want to sit in goodness. And sometimes that just isn't the truth. Sometimes it's just, oh, this is an acquaintance. You're going to say hi, but you guys may not be the closest and they may not like you that much, but that has to be all right. And that's what I've had to realize, I think, with my own father. And I had to realize with my own mother, because I can't really blame her for not protecting me when it comes to my father. Like, okay, I don't want my child going to that event because this man's going to act like he don't know them and be like, oh, so surprised to see them. And that hurts their feelings. And we voiced that to her. But I think regardless, I can't blame that woman no more. She done a whole lot, and I've done my best to overcome. Like it is what it is. I can't blame my whole life on that woman. She made her decisions, and she was a young woman that got married young, had a bunch of kids. So hey, look. But now it's my responsibility to reflect on these things, and I'm still shocked that I'm over here tearing up with y'all like this because I thought I was gonna tear up about one part, but. Whew. So yeah, the moral of the story is I love people. And I think I grew up really confused about people. My family really confused me. I think the love hate, the I really love you, I'm gonna be really nice, but also I really can't stand you, and I'm gonna make you feel crazy when you think that I can't stand you because of course I love you, but I'm gonna talk trash, but no big deal. I'm talking trash. It's just like what? What? And I think the thing I love is that me and my sister, oh my gosh, me and Brianna, we went through so much. Like we have brawls and fight each other. And we took the time to heal together. We took the time to have conversations, to tell each other, yeah, I was talking shit about you. Yeah, I was this. Yeah, I was that. And we really did the deep healing. We didn't gaslight each other. We sat in it. We really did. Something me and my sister said, we can't expect us from other people. And that has brought me a lot of peace. And so now when I'm thrown into situations that trigger me or make me think of the past, I have to process it in this way. So yeah, I'm strong, but y'all, I'm an emotional queen. Cancer lives all up in my veins. Yeah, Cancer sign. Okay, the zodiac sign Cancer. I am heavy Cancer energy. Okay, so I'm very in tuned. I like to nurture people, nurture my family. And I was just raised in a family that it's hard to nurture when you just don't know what's really going on. And I think that was for my best interest because I really see the good in people, and I think they helped me to grow a backbone. Like, girl, not everyone gotta like you. Not everyone gotta be all lovey-dovey, and that hurts my feelings, right? I have to sit in that because that's my truth. That hurts my feelings. So now what? And I think the now what is what I'm living through now. It's like, that's okay. And there's a lot of people that love you too. So lean on that and focus on that. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go to these events. I'm going to focus on the good. Maybe I'll post a few things here and there on my shorts and stuff of like little events going on because it's been fun. It really has. I feel lighter already. This was nice. This was a good session, y'all. Thank you for this phone call. I needed this. Yeah, now I'm going to go to my sister's event to them too. But look, I just needed this moment with myself. Just be like, oh, this is what's happening. Because even with my sisters, Brianna, she was younger than me. So she didn't necessarily experience what I experienced with my father. It was a different experience for her. She's 3 years younger, and I have way more memory with him than she does. She has way more memory with my mother. My mother affected her quite deeply, and my father did too. But I had a lot of memory with my father, like heavily. And so I worked through that, and I don't even know I'm working through it. And then my other sister, Olivia, oh my God, way younger than me, and she don't even know this side of my story. So yeah, just maneuvering. But if you made it this far, you're a real one. Thank you so much. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, support your girl. And if not, I really appreciate you being here. This is the real deal. This is how I release. This is how I hold myself accountable. Moving forward now, I can go to these events and be like, you're going to show up. You're going to be okay with whatever awkward energy or whatever the family has and blah, 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 because you know your truth and you're a beautiful person. I got to talk myself up. And it doesn't just start with like ego and raw. It's like, oh, I'm sad. I'm actually sad about this. Let's get to the root of the sadness and then let's push forward. That is how I really process it all. And it's worked. So those are the tools. Okay. Experience the thing, submerge yourself in it, process it, then let the tears flow. Actually feel it, get to the root of it, and then hype yourself up and be like, hold up. Once you get the tears out, it's like, let's go. I needed this. Thank you, God. It's not a blame game, right? My parents are my parents. They did what they could. They did the best that they felt they could do. And so it's my responsibility now to make sure that I'm growing and I'm not letting it hold me back. And so that's what I'm focused on. So it's been nice. It's been nice. So thank you again. And of course, I will see you on the next one. Thank you for letting me cry with you. I appreciate you. All right. Bye.